First of all, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sage Solution for KSA Invoicing Phase 2 webinar. My name is Rohit Dubey. I am the Senior Digital Marketer for Abacus IT Solutions, and today I will be your host for the session. And first of all, thank you for joining us, and I hope you're all doing well. And before we start, let me take a moment to give an overview of the webinar. So, in today's webinar, we will be discussing about Abacus and Taxilla, requirements and challenges of KSA invoicing phase 2, and Sage 300 solution demo. And I'm really sure that you will find this informative and useful. And also, we have a lineup of speakers who will be sharing their expertise and best practice. So first we have Manas Das. So Manas is a director in Abacus with responsibility of strategy and operations. He has more than 2 decades of experience as a trusted advisor to business owners on technology solution in Middle East. And he is also a certified professional chartered accountant from India. Second speaker we have Bharat Chandra. So Bharat is a product manager from Taxilla, and he has revolutionized RegTech and FinTech domain with his global B2G, B2B, and B2C e-invoicing solutions experience. And he has a vast experience in complex integration, data modeling, enterprise software implementation for KSA organizations. Third, we have Steve Collin. Steve is a Sage principal consultant in Abacus IT Solutions. He has a 15 years of experience in delivering enterprise application for SME across the globe. He has worked with principal partners of Sage in Singapore, Australia, and South Africa location. So these three speakers will also help you in the Q&A session, which will be at the end of this webinar. So I will request all the participants to feel free to put your questions on the chat box anytime during the session, and we will be responding to those questions at the start of the Q&A session. And we are really thrilled to have you here today, and we hope you enjoy the webinar. So without further ado, let's get started with our first speaker. I will request Manas sir to take it further from here.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Rohit. So let me share my slides. Just tell me that you are able to see it.
It's visible, sir.
Okay, nice. And yeah, so thanks. So let us get started. So just to expand on that point about about this webinar, what we wanted to demonstrate is that we have Sage. We are a Sage partner. We have Sage software solutions. We go and implement. We are a technology solutions consulting company in Abacus. So 2 of our large Sage ERP applications are available are compliant with KSA E-Invoicing and KSA VAT. We wanted to demonstrate that, as well as demonstrate some of the powerful functionality, how it can bring in efficiencies in various businesses. I mean, our success stories. Okay. So first is about Abacus, very quickly in a minute or two. We are, as I said, technology solutions consulting company. We have been around for about 20 years. We aspire to be the world-class technology solutions consulting company. And we have been doing this for Sage for 20 years in the Middle East. So these are some of the important timelines. We are, of course, a platinum partner. We have got, thanks to our well-wishers, we have been a platinum partner throughout, and we have thanks for all the awards that we have received. But there are a couple of them which actually stands out. One is in 2018 that we received the Best Implementation Partner Award in the Middle East. And in the latest year, which is in 2022, we are one of the largest partners for Sage X3 outside of South Africa. And of course, we also set up our development center. Incidentally, Platinum is the highest rating given by Sage. So these are our solution portfolio. So we have got, as you can see on the columns, we have got enterprise solutions, mid-market solutions, and small business solutions, apart from some of the best of breed. In the mid-market and enterprise, which is the column 1 and column 2, we have Sage X3 and Sage 300, which are ERPs. Both these solutions, which are Sage X3 and Sage 300, are compliant with KSA E-Invoicing. And that is what we wanted to share with our prospects, our customers, and our community, which is now in the phase of implementation. Of course, apart from the ERP, we also have HCM solutions, large and mid-market. We can talk about it in some other time. But now, today, we are talking about our ERP solutions, which is primarily Sage 300, which is compliant with KSA E-Invoicing and KSA VAT. Sharing a few customer stories with you. The first one is, let's say, Master Baker. Master Baker is a very large food manufacturing company. They have got businesses in UAE, Saudi, and other parts of the Middle East. They supply to the bakeries and chocolatiers and restaurants all over this region. They supply these dough and chocolate ingredients. They are using Sage X3 with more than 50 users. Been using Sage X3 for more than 10 years. The next is quickly talk about Zico. Zico is a company which supplies flare systems and incinerators to the oil exploration companies, including Aramco. They have got a very large setup in Saudi, in Kobar, and they supply equipments to Aramco and other companies in that region. They also have a very large business in India. They are using Sage X3, more than 50 users. The other few that we can talk about, that I can talk about, is Raibal, which is the Fujairah holding company. They are our customer using Sage X3. Then the Sharjah Her Highness's company, there's another sovereign fund, and British University, they are using Sage 300, and many more. So this is about Taxilla. I'll quickly take 1 or 2 slides on Taxilla before I leave it to Bharat. Taxilla is a SaaS-based global regulatory technology company, in short called RegTech. They have the RegTech platform, regulatory technology platform. Globally, they have got more than 2,000 customers with a very large ecosystem of partners and ISP, with Sage and Abacus as one of them. They work with large MNCs. E-invoicing is platform is offered in India and in other parts of the world. So they have a global presence, and that is demonstrated here, where they Saudi Arabia and India. So over to Bharat. He will take you through a few technicalities on what the KSA E-Invoicing requirements are and what is the solution. And over to you, Bharat. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Manas, for introduction about Abacus and partnership with Taxilla. Let me start sharing my screen and then I'll take you through the KSA requirements, invoicing requirements in KSA. Okay. Hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
visible.
Bharat.
So, coming to e-invoicing requirements in KSA, so e-invoicing is happening in two phases, phase one and phase two. Phase one is called as generation phase, and phase two is a integration phase. In phase one, the requirement is to generate the e-invoice in XML format and then store it for auditing purpose. When it comes to phase two, uh, there are certain additional things which need to be done for the e-invoice XML and also need to be sent to ZATCA based on the invoice type, whether it's a simplified tax invoice, whether it's a standard tax invoice. Based on the tax invoice type, there are different APIs provided by ZATCA. So let's go into more detail, like what is phase one requirement and what is phase two requirement. So as I said earlier, like we in phase one, e-invoice has to be generated in XML format. And when it comes to QR code, there's a requirement to print QR code on a simplified tax invoice for phase one. And that QR code should include seller VAT registration number, invoice timestamp, invoice total, and VAT total. And this QR code should also be generated based on the TLV logic, tag length, and value logic provided by ZATCA. And there is a requirement to archive invoices, the invoices XML whatever generated. Those need to be archived for a minimum of 7 years, and these 7 years might get extended based on the industry what you are operating. And there are some certain prohibited functions which e-invoice solution should not provide. Like there should not be any anonymous or guest user access, and we should restrict users to operate with default passwords. All the user session management should be done, and once the invoice is generated, uh, it should not be allowed or it should not be allowed to alter or delete it. And there should be a detailed logs, and there should not be any modification to the logs allowed. And all the timestamps should be accurate, and log generation has to be sequential. And there is something called as invoice counter. So invoice counter is like whenever we generate an invoice, the counter value will be increased in an incremental order. Say for the first invoice, it starts with one, and the next invoice it increments by one. Like it will be assigning two as the value for the next invoice. That is called invoice counter. So this counter should not be able to reset. Means like once you generated 10 invoices, there should not be any option to again start the invoice counter value from one. So these are some prohibited functions. So this is phase one. When it comes to phase two, which is called as integration phase, so there are some additional requirements apart from phase two, apart from phase one. Sorry. So this requirement should be interpreted as an additional on top of phase one. So what is that additional requirements is like e-invoice XML should be is in UBL 2.1 format. That is what JATCA has decided to go with. And it should include some additional information like additional seller ID and line item discount, tax code, invoice taxable amount, rounding payable amount. And if you are receiving payment through credit, then bank details, UUID. UUID is universal unique identifier. It is a 128-bit value which should be automatically generated by the e-invoice generation solution. And there is also a requirement of cryptographic stamp. So cryptographic stamp is nothing but a digital signature. So whatever the e-invoice which is being generated, right, that has to be digitally signed. Now this, who will do this cryptographic stamp? It depends on the uh, invoice type. If it is a standard e-invoice, then this cryptographic stamp will be done by ZATCA. If it is a simplified e-invoice, then this cryptographic stamp will be done by the e-invoice solution provider like Taxilla. And there is also something called as hash chain. So we need to generate the invoice hash. Invoice hash is nothing but some unique value generated based on the algorithm provided by Zatka. Now, the importance of this invoice hash is like if you generate an XML and calculate the invoice hash, you will get some value. Okay. Now, if you make some changes to the XML and again you calculate the invoice hash, the hash value will be different. So it's a kind of a one-way encryption, where you one-way encryption. So you will be able to generate hash value from the invoice, but you will not be able to see what is that e-invoice from the hash. So Jatka is going to use this invoice hash uh, to make sure that you are not tampering with the XML once you submit it to Zatka. So this will be mainly used in the auditing purposes. And Jatka also there is also a requirement to maintain the invoice sequence, which is nothing but the hash chain. So if you generate invoice one, that will have in hash value one, and if you generate invoice two, that invoice two should be linked to the hash one, which is the previous invoice hash. So all this hash chaining and everything will be done in the invoice solution. Now, QR code, coming to QR code, the difference between phase one and phase two is in phase one, the QR code is not required for standard tax invoices, but in phase two, it is required for standard tax invoices as well. But in phase two, this QR code will be modified by the Zatka when we submit invoice to Zatka. But in case of simplified tax invoice, e-invoice solution will be generating the QR code with the additional parameters. Additional parameters includes like invoice hash, signature value, and then public key of the EGS solution and public key of this Zatka. So all this additional information should be included in the QR code as part of phase two. And invoice tamper resistant counter. This is again the same thing. Like counter should not be able to, the invoice solution should not be able to reset the counter, or there should not be any mechanism to tamper with the invoice counter. Additionally, there is a requirement to generate PDF A3. So you can either share XML to your business partners, or if you are sharing PDF, then it has to be in PDF A3 format. So PDF A3 is nothing but this is a regular PDF, but it will have an attachment, which is the XML attachment. So this is the additional requirement for phase two, and there are some additional prohibited functions. So they should e-invoice solution should not be able to generate more than one invoice sequence. So here invoice sequence refers to the hash chain, and then there should not be an option to export cryptographic stamping key. In case of simplified tax invoices, we'll be doing the cryptographic stamp. So whatever the private keys which are used for cryptographic stamping, there should not be an option to export it. Those need to be saved securely, and there should not be any modifications for timestamp values while issuing the invoices. So these are the additional prohibited functions in phase two. And apart, as I said earlier, phase two is a generation phase, and this invoice solution should also be integrated with Zatka. So there are two types of integrations. One is to onboard the taxpayer, and the other one is to submit the invoice for reporting or clearance. So let's go into more details and see what is this onboarding process. So this is the onboarding process. This is a one-time activity which will be done by the invoice solution whenever taxpayer opts for this Taxilla as an invoice solution. So what is this happening is like we will ask some basic information like your organization group PAT number, if you have multiple branches, then team number, and what industry you are operating. We'll ask this basic information, and along with this basic information, uh, the taxpayer should also generate one OTP in the Fatura portal. So there are some clear instructions provided by Zatka on how to generate OTP in the Fatura portal, and that OTP information should be shared with the Taxilla. Now, using this organization information, um, Taxilla will also generate public-private key pair. Private key pair will be securely stored, and public key along with this organization information will be used to generate CSR. Okay, CSR is nothing but certificate signing request. So this CSR will be submitted to Zatka via API. So that API is called as compliance CSR API. So to this API, CSR will be submitted, and JATKA will validate the CSR. So what validations JATKA will do is, because you are submitting OTP and also your taxpayer information, your VAT, your group VAT number and TIN number, JATKA will validate whether that OTP will belong to this VAT number or not. All those validations will be done. And if all the validations are passed, JATKA will issue CCSID. It is called as compliance CSID. This compliance CSID will be saved, and it will also issue something called as request ID. These two information will be saved within Taxilla. And then once you receive this compliance CSID, the next step is to pass the compliance check. So there is one API called as compliance invoice API, wherein we need to submit sample invoices. Okay. So when I say sample invoices, so if you are dealing with only simplified tax invoices, if you are using this e-invoice solution only for simplified tax invoices, then you need to submit one sample invoice for simplified tax invoice, one sample invoice for a simplified credit note, and then one simplified debit note. So if you are using only for simplified tax invoices, 3 documents you need to submit. And if you are using for standard, if you are using this solution only for standard invoicing, then you need to submit standard tax invoice, credit note, and debit note. But if you are using this solution for all type of documents, like both simplified and standard tax invoice, then you need to submit all the 6 sample documents in the compliance invoice API. Only after passing this compliance invoice check, then only you will be able to submit the actual invoices. Another thing what need to be noted here is, whatever the invoices you are submitting, the sample invoices you are submitting as a part of compliance check, right? These invoices will not be stored by JATCA. So this is not the actual invoice reporting or clearance process. This is just we are ensuring that EGS solution, whatever you are using, is in compliant with the JATCA guidelines. So once this compliance check is passed, then we have to do another API call, which is called as production CSID API. Here we will submit the compliance CSID to JATCA, and once JATCA will validate this thing, and it will issue something called as PCSID, production CSID. So this will contain all the information about serial number of the certificate, uh, what is the public key of the jet. So all this information will be there in this production CSID. Once we receive this production CSID, that's when the onboarding process will be completed. And once the onboarding process is completed and production CSID is issued, JATCA will also send a notification to taxpayers saying that this onboarding process is completed. This is on the onboarding process. So this is a one-time activity. Now let's go and look at the invoicing process. So once you complete the onboarding process, the next step is to submit the invoices to JATCA. Okay, so how this is going to work is, we will be receiving the raw files. In this case, it is Sage. We will be receiving the files from Sage, invoice files from Sage. We'll do all the transformations, validations, and if there is some error, we will report that error back to the Sage. And if all the validations are passed, Taxilla will prepare e-invoice XML as per the JATCA guidelines, which is UBL 2.1 standard. And once the XML is generated, Taxilla will do all these other calculations, like calculate the invoice hash, embed previous invoice hash in the XML, and it will also do the cryptographic stamping and QR code as per phase 2 for simplified tax invoices. Now, after these things are done, next we'll check whether the invoice is simplified invoice or the standard invoice. If it is a simplified invoice, we will first generate the invoice with the QR code with the cryptographic stamp, and we will provide PDF A3 file so that you can send it to or immediately submit this invoice to your customer. Now there is some flexibility provided for simplified tax invoices. So simplified tax invoices, you don't need to get any clearance from JATCA. You can issue the invoices to your customer, but you should be reporting the transaction to JATCA within 24 hours of the transaction. So here we are first generating the invoice PDF A3 or invoice XML, and then immediately we'll be reporting it to JATCA to the reporting API. In case of simplified tax invoices, if the validation is passed, then JATCA will simply issue a status called as reported. If there is some error, then Taxilla will capture that error and then notify the customer about this error, notify the taxpayer about the error on a particular invoice. Now, this is on the simplified tax invoice. If the invoice is not a simplified tax invoice, it's a standard tax invoice, then the invoice has to be first submitted to Zatka through clearance API. Now, Jatka will validate the XML. If all the validations are passed, Jatka will clear the invoice. Now, as a part of response, if the invoice is cleared, if the invoice is successfully processed by Jatka, then Jatka will send the XML with the modified values, which includes the cryptographic stamp from Jatka and also QR code with the modifications as I said, which to include the cryptographic stamp from Zatka. This invoice XML will be receiving the base 64 encoded form from Zatka. We will be decoding it to a regular XML and then attaching it to the PDF file and generate the PDF A3. This PDF A3 will be now sent to Sage, and from there you can issue your invoices to your customer. So before passing through this clearance process, in case of B2B invoices, the invoice should not be issued to the customer. So that's the difference. That's the workflow for both simplified and standard tax invoices. That's all on the case invoice requirements in KSA. Now, I would request Steve to take it further.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, Steve, you are.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So hope my screen is also visible in the point, correct?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
All right, okay, thanks. So thank you very much, Bharat, Manas, and Rohit for highlighting the background and our experience. And yeah, I feel honored to be in a part of the session, and I hope that we will deliver a positive light for all the audience and the participants who have joined for today's session. So once again, I would like to warmly welcome everyone here today. So thank you for sparing your time in your busy schedule. Okay, so I hope that session will be much more informative and engaging. Okay, so first I would like to start from the target industry of the Sage 300. So where we as a Abacus, as a Sage partner, platinum partner, we always focused on the industries which Sage 300 can work. Okay, especially on service-based organization, distribution network, and the project-based organizations where the job costings, where a system can be take places, and other industries. So in these areas, we will identify the key pain points and how we can deliver the product and the services, okay, by transforming all our clients into Sage 300. Okay, so what is Sage 300? Okay, so those who are new here, okay, I would like to give some small summary of what is Sage 300. So Sage 300 is basically a one-stop business management solution. It's help from small to medium-sized businesses to manage their finance, operation, and inventory. And Sage 300 is previously known as ACPAC, one of the strongest accounting package, okay, which evolved, and later on Sage has been acquired that product, and it has been branded as a Sage 300 ERP. Okay, so in terms of Sage 300 core modules and the functionalities, okay, so Sage 300 offers wide range of modules and the features to help business to streamline their process. So streamline the process means there are certain criteria like reduce the manual data entries, improve accuracy, okay, and more practical to users to work on their day-to-day operation. So Sage 300 become a popular choice, especially on the mid-market, for a robust financial management capabilities, combining other operational activities as well. So if you see, we have categorized the modules in a certain area. Say, for example, like accounting and financials, where you have the general ledgers, accounts payable, receivable, GL consolidation, if you have in a group companies, okay, multi-currencies, bank, and tax services. Of course, that this has been, the taxes can be configured in order to your requirement. And the distribution networks, where we have the inventory control, order entry, purchase orders, and so on, we can have that functionalities as well, and the intelligence and the CRM part of that. So the business intelligence becoming more popular So where we were in a kind of a legacy kind of reporting structures, but now we like to see in a kind of a nice, colorful reporting structures. So where the business intelligence comes to the play. So and I will showcase that in our demo on few reports on that. Okay, so next we have the project job costing. Okay, so project job costing is where we mostly in a project environment, the construction environment, where we need to track the number of materials, subcontractors, where we have given. So all the financial related activities of on a project or a contract can be tracked through the job costing. Next is a customization and integration. Yes, I would like to state here very much like how Sage 300 evolved in terms of integration. So one example is our Taxilla, our VAT regulation partner. So where we have done a seamless integration on the product. Okay, and we have other solutions which can be integrated where it comes from out of the boxes, out of the Sage 300, and we have the complete web API where the data can be directly pushed into Sage 300 without any kind of further downtime or further any kind of scheduler to run the data into Sage 300. Okay, so this is the Sage 300 core modules and its functionalities in a glance. So Sage also have the marketplace to cater the modules and add-on based on the different business verticals. So we have a lot of business vertical like manufacturing, operations, like we have a different business vertical. So Sage also have 47 authorized ISV partners available across the globe and cater the solutions. And each authorized ISV's minimum of level 11 modules and add-ons available in the market in the Sage ecosystem. Okay, so there are close to 500 plus modules and add-ons available. So which can be catered to the business or else the customized to the business requirement. It's a kind of a plug and play environment. Okay, where we acquire the module and we do the needful configuration and we train the users and we implement the solution. So this is the one-stop marketplace of the modules and the add-ons. So here there are some of the modules that I have taken. Yes, KSA E-Invoicing, one of our module, and asset accounting and the resource manager and manufacturing part, barcode operation, where in a kind of a larger warehouse where the barcode operations, and audit logger, so where we can have a comprehensive audit log environment, the bank reconciliations and document attachments, so customized document numbering. So likewise, there are 500 plus modules and add-ons available in order to match or shoot with your business requirement. And if we talk about the deployment option, okay, so Sage 300 have two type of deployment option. So one is on-prem and the Abacus managed or we managed partner cloud environment. So on-prem environment is where you have your own infra ready, and we will provide the compatibility guide, which will have all the requirement in very detail. So where you can have and we can host it there, and that also can be hosted in your environment and access it from anywhere. And all the infra managed will be taken care by our customers end. And next we have Abacus Cloud. So it's a complete manage of that cloud is taken care by us, and all the security measures and all the requirement access and the privilege, everything will be given by us. So we will be deploying the Sage in our cloud, and we will be giving the access to the users, and it can be accessed across the globe wherever you are. So there is no any restriction based on the region or based on the area. So you can easily access Streamline. You need to have only internet connection to access it. Even on-prem also we can do it. There are a lot of tools or a lot of ideas has been innovated in terms of accessing the Sage 300 through the cloud. Okay, so I would like to share some of our customer success stories. So I have taken a certain customer success stories here. So one, we have a CIT group. Okay, so where the CIT group is located in Saudi, and they are one of the mining. They are into business in mining and drilling, project management, construction business, and they also using Sage for almost a decade, and almost 20 modules has been implemented and 40 users working across the ecosystem, like starting from supply chain, financial, and operational as well. And next, we have a similar kind of operation like we are Ellisden, Filmmaster, AIM. So these are the three companies like they are using into the project management. Okay, they are especially on the event and exhibition. They are mainly on the resource outsourcing. So these kind of operation handles in this organization. So, and these organizations also close to 5 to 7 years with us currently, where they also using Sage 300, the core ERP. And the best part of this, especially on the Film Master and names, we have integrated a project management tool. So I would like to highlight that how Sage 300 is robust in terms of integration with other solutions, so which can be real time of the environment. And next we have the Emirates Palace. Okay, it comes under the ruler of Abu Dhabi. So where we have implemented Sage 300 with their, they have a lot of other subdivisions within their palace. So we have implemented Sage 300, like close to 1 decade they are with us, and British University. And we have Happy Market. It's out of UAE. It's in the Maldives, and they have almost like 55 users are already available, 50 to 60 users available with the Sage, and they're also using almost 15 modules and add-ons with Sage. And one best part is they have a retail and wholesale operation, almost 15 outlets available, and all these outlets are connected to the central environment in their premises. So where the system is very fast and where users can be enter all their day-to-day operation with the Sage 300 itself. So these are the customers who can stand for us and talk for us how Abacus has delivered the solution in order to cater their requirement. So in this time, I would like to invite Manas Das to give insight of the investment and how it will be on Sage 300.
Yeah, so my purpose will be to take you through the starting investment required to deploy Sage 300 solution. But before I get in there, let me give you the assurance that we will kind of give you the demonstration. Steve will give you the demonstration of Sage 300 in a little while. So you will be able to see the solution and something which is extremely attractive, and how it works successfully for thousands of companies across the world, including the Middle East, which is ERP, which is targeted towards the mid-market. A very comprehensive ERP. While it has been around for decades, it is a very frontier in technology solution. As Steve was mentioning, there is an ecosystem of add-ons which is built, which can actually be used off the shelf. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's a very horizontal solution. So finance, distribution, project-based companies, consulting companies can derive benefits immediately at quick time. So this is the starting investment required to deploy Sage 300 for 1 to 5 users Sage 300 solution. So here the slide breaks it down into with FND and KSA E-Invoicing and KSA VAT compliant. Okay, so which Sage 300 hosted on the cloud, on the AWS cloud, which includes the entire stack of operating system, database, including the annual managed services. For 1 to 5 users, I repeat, the starting investment for annual recurring costs will be in the region of about $9,000 to $11,000, which is in the first row. The second row is about implementation consulting. Of course, you will appreciate that The more complex the implementation is, the consulting will differ, but the starting consulting to implement Sage 300, again, 1 to 5 user will be in the region of about $7,000 to $12,000. So the total investment to start, starting investment required for Sage 300 deployment will be in the region of about $16,000. Okay, for $16,000 to $23,000 for 1 to 5 users. So now let us look at the KSA invoicing, and I will with KSA invoicing, and how it works is that it is applicable for two documents. One is sales invoice and the second is credit notes. Okay, so you log into Sage X3 and Sage 300 and you get into, like any other, into the transaction called sales invoice. And the sales invoice, once you generate, before it gets posted and printed, what it will do. So once you start to generate the sales invoice or the sales credit, before you start to print and post, it would have integrated the data with the Fatura portal to the EGS, which is the electronic generating system, which is that of Taxilla, would have got the information that you wanted and then post and print. And how that works is demonstrated in this picture. So we have set up API-based validations for things like company profile, then other mandatory fields calculations. So electronic EGS, which is the electronic generation system, which is that of Taxilla, integrates, validates that information, gives the information which is required to KSA Fatura portal, gets information in terms of UUID, embedded XML, the hash, the QR code, and returns it to the solution while the user remains on the same sales invoice screen. So once this entire validation is established, then only the system, the Sage 300 or Sage X3 system, allows the transaction to be posted and printed. This is a one slide view of how this entire system works. So over to you, Steve, to demonstrate the solution.
Thank you very much, Mas, for the wonderful insight of the financials as well as on the Fatura workflow. Right, let me share my screen. Hope I'm audible and screen is also visible.
Yes, Steve, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So before I will come into Sage, the application, so I would like to give about the information about the KSA e-invoice. So while we implement Sage 300, and we will ensure that KSA e-invoice part also will be in line with that. So there are some certain activities or certain homework that has to be take care by the both parties, like Abacus as well as our valuable customers. So these are the master creations, okay, where we will have the tax numbers, the invoice types and sub-invoice type. And again, the seller and the buyer addresses both in English and Arabic, okay, and where the English, the addresses will be especially like plot ID, which is something new, and they will be come into the system as optional field. Okay, we will configure those, and anyway, it's a mandatory to use the TIN number and the VAT numbers there, and province name and the building. So these are the criteria which has been given by SATCA as to be followed as a written rule. Okay, so next we have a product master. Again, it will also cater in English and Arabic. So where all the Arabic language, we will keep our user to enter, because we understand how sensitive that language is. Okay, so we will keep the user in order to enter those information, or else we will share the Excel sheet, and you can provide that in a bulk, and we will do the uploading in part. So these are the activities will be take care of the Sage 300. So these are the tax reasons. So while we doing the data entry, okay, so it's must that we select these reason, okay, during our transaction time. Okay, so if there is a tax exempt, okay, whether it's a financial service or life insurance or real estate, okay, and with a standard rate, whether it's a zero rated, okay, or no subject to VAT. Okay, so these things we will already configured, and this is given completely by SETCUP. If there is any addition come by SETCUP in future, that also we will upload, or we will update those information in the system as well. Okay, and this is the kind of a QR code will cater. Okay, so if we take invoice, so we can see the information when we scan, because SETCUP also have their own app. So we will scan those information, and while we scan, we will get these are the informations in our devices. Okay, seller name, VAT register number, timestamp, date and time of the document, whether it's the invoice types, VAT amounts, hashtags, cryptographic stamp, and publicly generated, including SATCA's cryptographic stamp. So these are the information will be available when we scan our document. Okay, so let me go into Sage 300. So I would like to take first through the web screen. Yes, Sage 300 comes up with two different frameworks. One is desktop version, another one is the web screen version. So the web screen version is kind of a part of where you can see the widgets, and the standard core ERP is built mostly in the web screen, and it can be accessed from anywhere by hosting corner public IP. So this can be accessed. So you can have your user ID and password inbuilt in the system, and we can have your Windows authentication also will be as a security purpose. We can use it in that. So you can see the user ID and password, and you can see the multiple companies can be created here. Okay, so let me select and log in for that. Okay, so we'll have the local host, or we'll have your IP ID with the /Sage 300. So it will load up, and you will type your user ID and password, and you can select your companies. It's multi-company enabled. Okay. So once we load, we can see in our home screen. We can see in our home screen there are few widgets has been loaded. In the left, you can see the modules listed. Okay, these are the core modules which is available in the system. Okay, so you can see these widgets give you a kind of like quick view of your business activity, especially on the cash position, income, expenses, and your activity trend, and what is your income from operations. So likewise, you can maintain 6 widgets in your landing page. And one thing, and this will also work based on the user access, and all the user will not able to see these widgets, because normally this is a kind of an decision making inquiry windows or widgets we can see. So you can see on those 6 widgets can be loaded in the web screen on the home page. And the left side, you can see the model as I explained, and here we can see our other inquiries. So these are all inquiry reports available in the systems, and we can see we can have the global search. Global search is one of the best options. Say for example, if you want to find something, you can find it through the global search. Okay, it's a central searching environment where it will give from the which batch, from the which entry it has been taken on that. Okay, so this is on the web screen, so I will not go much on detail. And one thing, we are really happy to give personalized demo. If there is any requirement is there, we can discuss it later on our Q&A session. Okay, so let me take through the Sage 300 desktop screen, or we call it the classic screen. Okay, so in my left, you can see all the modules are listed. Okay, and these modules, as I mentioned, we can add core modules into this, into our requirement. And let's go with the intelligence reporting. So where we have the business intelligence. Okay, so I would like to showcase. So these are all the reports which is readily available with the intelligence reporting with the Sage 300. And this report also can be modified. Okay, it's all data pull into the Excel by connecting to the database. So I have already ran few reports because it's quite a bit of seconds of time consuming. So I already run a report here. I have already taken a customer aging trial balance. Okay, so in this we can see top customer overdue by value. Okay, and top customer aging. And here we can filter. Okay, for example, I want to see all sales group customers. So if you double click here, the formula in the screen will be moved accordingly. So if I say I want to see only the different kind of a control account basis, so it will filter on that, and you can clear those filters. So this will give a kind of an insight of how your aging can be taken, and it's more powerful than the system generated report as well. Okay, and next I have taken a report of general ledger transaction listing. So for example, you will take this ledger book, we can see what are the batch the entries have been posted, and what are the descriptions and the data and the value. Again, we do have called optional fields. Okay, so through the optional fields also reports can be generated, and we can see what are the approved documents are there. So these are all been going through the approved document to the optional fields. So likewise, various of the report we can take through the business intelligence report, as I mentioned previously. Okay, so and one thing I would like to take two kind of business efficiency activities where I can show more into the system on a later part on that. Okay, so if I take in the inventory control, one of the crucial inventory part where your costing methods and everything is taken care on the system. Okay, because we more curious about our inventory control, how we are maintaining on our inventories. Okay, so if I say physical inventory, okay, for example, when we do a stock adjustment, we need to take our balance stock, which is physically there in our warehouse, and we need to take into the system, and we need to do the adjustment. But in Sage 300, there is something advanced better than that. Say, for example, you can generate a worksheet. I'm just generating a worksheet here. Just location. So this worksheet has been generated. So once the worksheet is generated, we can call that worksheet into the system, and it will populate us a report of what you have in your quantity. Okay, so once that is done, you can directly go into the physical stock inventory. Okay, you can count your inventories. You can count your inventory. You can see quantity on hand, quantity counted, and quantity variance. So quantity variance is actually quantity count, where you can enter how much in your warehouse, and it will automatically take the variance of that quantity, and you can post the inventory reconciliation. So end of the day, by the few clicks, your inventory starts to get tally with your real physical and your system stock. So this is one of the best physical inventory reconciliation, which is very much robust in Sage 300. Okay, so next I will take about the control. Okay, so we all are more curious about the control, where the user should not enter any transaction for the future date or is for the backdated. So in that case, we have in a fiscal calendar. In the fiscal calendar, we can lock the modules. Okay, we can lock the modules. Okay, we can open only the current page, a current period only. Okay, so where user will not able to enter any transaction, it will not enter available user to post any transaction for the locked periods, because these are the common issues that we face. Okay, the common pain areas we face in terms of during the implementation of the ERP, or else the operation also start places. So these are the few I have just shown you on a business efficiency, but there are a lot on that. We can go in detail on a personalized demo. And next, I would like to come into the e-invoicing part. Okay, so e-invoicing have two type of criteria. So as I mentioned, we need to fill up the information in the optional field. Okay, if I open the optional fields here, so you can see we will create those all the information which is given by SETCA. We will keep it up here, exempt from tax, and those informations will be there. Okay, we will define that. And next, the customer master. If I take the customer master here, we have the customer in English, so it comes standard, and we have a screen for customer in Arabic. So where user needs to key in the Arabic by enabling the keyboard language in the keyboards, and user can enter the Arabic customer, which it will populate from that. And here we have two kind of invoices. One is the service related invoices where we have in the AR, and next we have the inventory related invoices. That means the order entry. So the items also available in the Arabic. Okay, so where we will maintain in English, at the same time we will maintain those information in Arabic as well. So if I take one customer here, let me take very quickly. So I'll just select one invoice, new, just type this sample invoice, and I select one customer here. All right, let me, okay. And first of things we knew, like, okay, the invoice types and the date and everything, and system will generate automatically. And I just select these functionalities, like say for example, just select this account here. I just enter the value, and in the right corner, if you go, you can see the optional field. So what kind of, each line wise we have to select, okay, each line wise. So this is a financial service. So if there is nothing here, you can keep it blank. Okay, so we have only one line here. Okay, if you want to insert, you can click on the insert button and we can add it here, and you have to just add it. So okay, and next we have the payment method. Okay, what kind of a payment code, whether it's in cash or credit transfer. So you see, when I try to post also, I also want to highlight that control. When I try to post, it also gives you some kind of a validation, okay, on the system, which needs to be updated before we posting. So once this is posting is done, we have deployed a developer integration tool, E-Invoice SETCA integration. Okay, so in that we have two type of options. One is account receivable and one is order entry. And again, we have document type of invoice, credit note and debit note. And if I take account receivable, and we can load the invoices, okay, the invoices which we have entered, we can load that invoice, particular invoice, and we can print it. So once I click, within a few seconds, it will communicate through the Taxilla, it will communicate to the SETCA portal, and it will populate the report as per the requirement. Okay, you can see, and this QR code and this template can be modified according to your current template. And there are some certain key areas which requires to be, there are 14 points which requires to be enabled in the invoice template. And next we have the cryptographic, and the hashtags and everything will build here, which is already predefined. So this is a kind of requirement that we have discussed in our PowerPoint in our previous sessions as well. Okay, so this is on the Sage 300. So time is not limited much, so we can do more on that. So these are the kind of mandatory areas of the e-invoicing for the phase 2 on that. Okay, so that's all from me. So we will be happy to give you any kind of further questions. If they have any question, we are happy to answer for that. And we are happy to do the personalized demo if required in future. Rohit, it's over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, and thank you to all our speakers for sharing their valuable insights and expertise with us today. So now it's time for our Q&A session, and I will be reading out the question in the chat. And I will also request you to please put any questions if you have. So yeah, so one question we have from the participant is the solution a SaaS-based product or an on-premise solution? Yeah, I will take
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a fully SaaS-based product. It's a on-prem solution, but it can be hosted in any cloud environment like Microsoft or Azure, or else we also have a cloud environment. Abacus also have a cloud environment. Even in your on-prem also we can host it, and we can give the access to the users like work on a cloud environment.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Can I come in, Steve?
yeah, Manas, yeah.
So I'll just kind of get that clear. You see, of course, that is the deployment options that we demonstrated. Now, if you're asking whether it is a multi-tenant solution, it is not, which is not required. From a customer point of view, it can be either, can it be installed on the premise, on the server? Yes, it can be. It can also be installed on the cloud, whether it is AWS or it is Azure. In fact, when we demonstrated the starting investment, we said that we will offer the Sage 300. The commercials which we demonstrated was for Sage 300 on AWS with the entire stack coming from Abacus, which is the OS, the database, including managed services.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the answers. So, and one other question we have, what will happen if the validation fails or Zatka system is down? Can we still issue the invoices?
So can you repeat the question, Rohit? I could not hear parts
Yeah.
of it.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So, what will happen if the validation fails or Zatka system is down? Can we still issue invoices?
Okay, good. So who is asked these questions also? If you can give the name, then that will be nice. Okay. So you see yeah, exactly. I think this is a good question. The posting, the printing and posting of the invoice will be done only after the validation is completed. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, if it is not validated for some reason, then the user cannot print or post the invoice. That is how it will work. So it's got a self-built control.
Okay.
Manas, can I add one thing here, Manas? Like, and
No,
it's
okay.
also it's also maintain a log file in the system.
Yeah.
So if there is any validation fails, okay, you can always refer to the log file with the date and time with the description for these reason only the validation as the invoice has been failed.
Right. Good point, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And another question we have, this is the last one. Is it available for Sage X3 by Osman Khan?
So is it? Sorry, I could not get that.
So the question is it available for Sage X3?
Oh yeah.
Or,
Yes, it is. In fact, that is exactly what we have been reiterating right through this session, is that this KSA e-invoicing is available both for Sage X3 and for Sage 300, and it is available off the shelf. There is no more connectivity, API connections, etc., which is required to be done. We can deploy, it's all kind of done and dusted. We can deploy it in probably 2 to 3 hours. Okay, it is all off the shelf for both the solutions, that is Sage X3 and Sage 300. It is available.
okay. Thank you, sir. If there is any further query, I will request our participant to please unmute yourself and directly ask the question. Yeah, anyone? Okay,
So Rohit,
so
just stay on for a few seconds.
yes,
For a minute.
so Usman has actually shared the question that can we have a demo for Sage X3?
Sorry. Can we have a demo for Sage X3?
Yes, sir, right.
Yeah, of course. Of course, we can have a demo for you for yourself for Sage X3. We can definitely do it. In fact, it will be our pleasure to make a tailored demo for yourself on Sage X3. That will be our pleasure. So we will get in touch with you and we will give that demo after getting the basic requirement documents, requirement details. Okay, we will do that. It will be our pleasure.
Okay. Yeah, so I will request all the participants to please unmute and ask question directly.
Hi, this is Chandan from Alusha Technologies.
Yes, Mr. Chandan.
Yeah, so my question is like, what do you think is the Taxilla solution? It's like a third-party solution outside Sage. So we have a customer here in Saudi Arabia for whom we have implemented a e-invoicing solution within Sage. So like within Sage X3, it is X3 version of Sage. So within Sage X3, we are generating invoices for the customer as e-invoicing compliant as per the KSA regulations. Okay. So what I wanted to know is, do you have any such solution, which is like an inbuilt solution within Sage instead of going for a third-party solution?
So can I answer that? So Chandan, this is not a third-party solution in the way that the e-invoicing works in Saudi. Okay, they have identified a few players who will be electronic generating systems who will have the EGS, okay, who are certified by the Fatura Saudi. There are a couple of players like that, and they are in turn connecting with the respective solutions. So it is a model which is allowed and legal in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so there is absolutely no problem about that. Okay, it's a legal. Fatura has put this model so that there are few EGSs which can connect, which can be the conduit between Fatura on one side and the accounting systems on the other side. Okay, so this is a absolutely valid model. Now, it is also possible, so while I say this, that our solution which we are offering is a completely legal, valid solution for Sage in Saudi for both Sage 300 and X3. While I park it there, if I have to take that point about establishing a connection directly to Fatura without the EGS, it is that Chandan we did not go in for that because it would have taken us much more longer, like it has taken Taxilla. So therefore we have taken that route of connecting with the EGS rather than with the Fatura portal. Okay, so that is the way forward. And there is, you see, when it comes to the user experience, when the user is generating the invoice, the user does not get the sense as to whether what is happening in the background, whether it is the transaction or the data is going through EGS to the Fatura or it is going to Fatura straight away. They don't get that kind of fun. They don't have that. They are not privy to that where which systems it is affecting. They will stay in the sales invoice and they can generate the invoice, print it and post it.
Okay, so like it's like basically an automated solution through Taxilla. So instead of connecting Sage to the Zakka, what they call here is a Zakka portal. Okay, the Fatura portal. They call it as the Zakat portal, the Zakat Authority portal.
Right.
That is phase 2 of the implementation, where like any invoice raised from your e-invoicing solution has to be authenticated by the government officials. So like that authentication is going to take through Taxilla.
Correct. Through the EPS, which is Taxilla, to the Fatura, which is the slide which we showed. It is through the Taxilla to the Fatura and back to Sage.
And then what about the archiving information? Like, can you have an idea, like if I raise a sales invoice and it goes through e-invoicing process, cryptographic stamp and authentication, everything, and then the end result is like it gets sent to my customer, and then the invoicing information gets archived, right? So what I want to know is the archival format. Like, what is the format of the archival? Like, is it like a document format, or is it the electronic format?
So it is the once it is validated. Okay, I don't know if I can't remember if Steve showed you that, but it is a PDF format. Okay, PDF format. Couple of points. One is which has all the details or requirements necessary. Okay, whether the format has to have 14 or 15 requirements. Okay, which has to be mandatory. Along with the QR code, etc. That is one. Number two is that the JSON codes, etc. is also should be there on the PDF format, which should also have the UUID and hash number and all that stuff. So it is saved and archived, which we can access from Sage 300 or Sage X3.
Yeah, because why I'm asking is because now, as per the new regulations here, Zatka is no longer going to ask us or the customer for a hard copy of an invoice. They are going to directly access the archive location.
Yeah. So it is not required to be printed. It can be shared in a soft format, which is the PDF, but just not a PDF. It has got a lot of kind of technicalities to the PDF. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandan, for sharing your question. And thank you, Manas sir, for answering. Do we have any other further questions?
Yeah, just last question. What is the timeline for this implementation? Like, if you go for Taxilla with Sage X3, what is the timeline?
So can I answer that?
Yes.
So Chandan, you see, it is if you're asking about the dates for from Fatura or Zatka, it is, I think the wave 1 starts from 1st January 2023. The wave 2 is applicable from 1st of June. Am I right, Bharat?
No. The phase
1st of
1
July.
is from the phase 1 is from 1st of December 2021. It's already live, actually, phase 1. Okay.
No, I'm saying phase 1. See, Chandan,
Okay.
it is phase 1 is 1st December 2021, but phase 2, they are implementing it in waves. The
Yes,
wave
that's right. Yeah.
The wave 1 is applicable for companies with turnover above 4 billion riyals, which is applicable
Yeah,
from
that's right.
1st of January 2023. And the wave, I think, I can't remember what the turnover is, but that is applicable from 1st of June. Bharat, what is the turnover?
Yeah, that's right.
1st of July. Wave 2 is from 1st of July.
Yeah.
The wave 2 is for customers who have a revenue more than $500 million, and like what Zatka has done right now is they have given a phase of 6 months. So for wave 1, it is from January till June, and then the wave 2 starts from July. So it's from July till November.
Yeah, and then the next waves are coming. Now
Yeah.
For implementation time, it will take, as I said, it is available ready off the shelf. it is a matter of hours, okay, to implement. So we have a very comprehensive onboarding document, a process, etc. All that it's available. So that once a customer's commercial closure is done, then we can go through the onboarding process, which is in hours and does not take days. So the deployment is in hours, Chandan, if that answers your question.
Yeah. Okay, Manas. So like I think it should not be more than 2 to 3 months time, not more than that, I believe, right? Like
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the testing rollout and everything, right?
Really,
If there is any customization.
Yeah, 2 to 3 months is a long time. It can be deployed in hours, okay? Because the integrations are all off the shelf. So it can be, whenever you want to do it, it can be done in hours, okay?
Okay, and then how will the costing factor here, Manas, is like, will it be based on the transaction base, or will it be based on the user base? Like how is the license and the costing going to factor?
So the we can share the pricing, okay? If you are kind of interested, we can share over an email. But essentially, I will give you an idea. There are two parts to the pricing. One is a subscription, which is an annual recurring cost, and the second is a one-time setup cost. The one-time setup cost is applicable for the connectors, and subscription is applicable for generation of invoices. Okay. Now we have slabs. The first slab is 1,000 invoices. Okay, and the recurring cost, I think it is in the region of about 3,500 reals per annum, which is what is the recurring cost. So the total, including one-time setup cost, is about 9,000 reals. Okay, I can also tell you that we have done a kind of analysis, a competitive analysis of other solutions which are available, and I can tell you that our solution, which is Abacus's KSA invoicing solution for both 300 and XT people, has got the best TCO, that is the total cost of ownership, in 3 years or 5 years, is the best compared to other competitors.
Got it, Manas. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
all.
you,
From me.
Chandu.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So anyone else who wants to share their questions? Okay. Okay, so I think that was the last. So yeah, thank you everyone for submitting your questions, and you can also reach us. You can also reach us to our contact info displayed on the slides. And yeah, so I will be also sharing the slides with all the participants. And finally, I would thank all of our participants for joining us today, and we really appreciate your time and engagement. And we hope you found this webinar useful. And please don't forget to follow us on social media to stay in. Hello. Yeah. Please don't forget to follow us on social media and to stay informed about our upcoming events. So thank you once again, everyone.